So we're back. New year, same shit. Lockdown 3. This time it's a personal. We're still sitting around doing sod all. So we thought we'd talk more wrestling and some more questions and stuff while we're waiting for Royal Rumble to make its appearance. So yeah, we hope everybody had a good Christmas and Happy New Year, as good as you could possibly have it with all these restrictions in place. I know it's depressing, but it is what it is. So yeah, we're going to talk some more wrestling.
Yeah, we're back again. I mean, it's been a long time since we did one. I think the last one was TLC, but the last lockdown one, I can't remember. It's been a while, but you know, Christmas, New Year's and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're here. You can't even make a New Year's resolution because everyone's New Year's resolution is to go out.
Yeah, that's like literally I don't do New Year's resolutions because I think I can't be bothered. It's the same thing with like dry Januaries and all that kind of stuff. It's just like veganuaries. It's like I don't care. I don't. The only reason that most people do that is just to prove they can last without it, and I know that I can, so I don't have to worry about it. So yeah, I don't normally make resolutions, but we kind of went, look, if we're going to make a resolution, it's going to be I want to go out more.
Yeah, let's do something. Yeah, I've already decided when the time comes where you go, okay, this is it. Pubs are open, restaurants are open. You can go out back to normal. In my head, I'm going to be like, right, for at least a year, I'm doing something every weekend.
Same here. I said the same thing. I don't want to sit down on a Sunday and not have anything unless I'm hammered from the night before.
Well, even if I'm not going... I'm going to sound like that comedian who I forget in a minute, but even if I'm not going out, I'll be going out.
Mickey Flanagan.
Go to my mum's or my dad's, or vice versa, or my mate's house, just to sit around and talk and have a beer.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do you want to do your share and stuff?
Yeah, usual stuff, guys. Like, share, subscribe. You know where we are by now. If you're avidly listening to us waffle on and on and on like we usually do to fill some time. So you know where we are. But obviously the main thing we normally do like deaths and everything and what we're dedicating podcast to if we've got someone that's died. Obviously the main one is Brodie Lee, Luke Harper or John Huber. It's just Huber, I can't remember. It's Huber. I don't know. Yeah. We'll just go with Brodie Lee. But yeah, it just dying at 41 of a lung complication. That sucks. I did not expect that when I woke up to it.
Yeah, it's this kind of, I say, we discussed before, it leads into my first question, which isn't really a question. It's similar to what I did with the Undertaker thing. It's like, do you want to talk about the Brodie Lee thing? So we're kicking off with that. Okay,
so let's kind of, it's dedicated to Brodie Lee, so let's kick off with what you kind of want to go with.
It's a big deal. I'm not saying that the other deaths aren't, but you know, usually when we dedicate to someone, it's they died of old age or whatever, and even as much as suicide ones are horrible as well, it's one of them where like, okay, that's horrible, but it was their decision; they were in control. As horrible as it is, this was no like doing of Brodie Lee's. This was just a horrible circumstance which no one really understands right now. The story that I've got, he had his last match with Cody around the end of October.
Yeah, it was the dog chain match, wasn't it?
Yeah. Was doing his workout and just knew something didn't feel right. He couldn't finish his workout. And then it just went downhill quickly. Was pretty much in hospital for the last 2 months, and his family asked AEW and everyone to keep it quiet. Because I didn't know.
No, none of us did. The only thing I thought to myself is that since the match he had with Cody, I thought to myself, he's been off for a few weeks. Yeah. And I wonder why. Maybe they're just kind of trying to keep him... Storyline thing. They're trying to keep him away from it so when he pops back, it's good. But yeah, that was the only kind of thing that kind of piqued my interest of going, where is he? But at no point did I think it was something like this.
No, it just... the interviews I've seen are mainly with JR and Tony Schiavone, and they said, we knew that it was beginning to look really bad, but we thought, he's a fighter, hopefully he'll kick out of this. And Boxing Day he went. And JR he doesn't know a lot, but he seems to be under the impression it was just double lung failure. Now, they've already said it's non-COVID related, and that's fine. I can buy that. They'd know if it was COVID.
Yeah.
It's just a weird thing of like, well, how did that happen? Was it like a hereditary thing? Was it something to do with the amount of bumps he's taken over the years? That is, it's done something to his lungs where they just can't function properly. So it was just it hit me between the eyes, like really bad.
And it's because of his age as well. Like, he's 41. It's no age to go. It's like you say. It's like most of the people that we dedicate to are in their old age, or they've had a really long battle with cancer, so we kind of got used to the idea. But this just a 41-year-old man in the prime of his, his run at AEW, and going to be one of the hottest things in AEW, set to be one of the big guys in there, and then just pull the rug from under you.
It's It did hit me hard. I said to my brother the other day, this is the first one in a while that's hit me hard since Eddie Guerrero, really. It hit my brother really hard. Like, he was very upset about it. I think when I put it into why I was so upset about it, it's like, since day one, really, since the Wyatt family, and this is no offence to Eric Rowan, but I've thought Luke Carpe, he's the man.
There's something about him, every time you see it, that he's got something, and I don't know what it is, but it's something I like.
So it's like, he is already a favourite of mine. He may be mid-carder, but he's a favourite. And that stayed. And then, obviously, WWE didn't utilise him enough. And he goes to AEW, and pretty much the step from WWE to AEW, he stepped straight into a main event spotlight. Because it was almost... I remember one of his promos was saying to someone, "You're not the first out-of-touch old man who's going to underestimate me." I was like, right, I know what he's talking about. So it was straight away like, not only am I going away from WWE from this Luke Harper character as a mid-carder under the Wyatt family, kind of like a follower, I'm going straight into the main event spotlight as a leader of a stable. And I'm nailing it. So it was that whole thing of like, he's main event now, he's got his career ahead of him, his career looks so bright, and then this happens. And then and on top, he's got like two little boys at home. Yeah. It's just heartbreaking no matter what.
I think that's a lot of people that were putting up their memories of him. I'd say about 90% of them talked about how great of a father he was and how much he loved being a dad. And all that kind of stuff, and I that shows how much he generally had that as his main passion over wrestling, is because of how many people said he just loved being a dad. He was a great father. He was just a great person. Full stop. And it's just such a shame. It really is.
The thing is well, people were saying like, oh, you see from the outpouring how much people loved him, how awesome he was. It's like, right, on one side I could be like, well, no one's ever going to come on TV and go, well, he was a dickhead and glad he's dead. No one's ever going to do that.
No. If they did, they would be destroyed.
Yeah, but you could see, it wasn't like they were saying it go like, oh, I never... The only one that rubbed me up the wrong way was, cause I was going to say, everyone that was praising him, you could see in their eyes and the way they spoke it, they meant it. They meant every word they said about how good of a bloke he was and stuff. Bailey put up something saying, it's just horrible news. I wasn't really a big fan of him, but rest in peace. I was like, why did you have to add that bit?
Yeah, just don't say it. You don't need to say it.
Yeah. Why don't you just say, this is horrible, rest in peace?
Yeah.
Not, I wasn't really a fan. Because that's like a bit of a backhand, really.
That's the thing, is I'm not a fan of John Cena, but if he died, I'd be like, fuck. You know what I mean? But that sucks.
Well, this is it. I mean, I was thinking this earlier of like, when Vince dies, don't get me wrong, unfortunately my first reaction is probably going to be cartwheels.
That's the thing. That's going to be the hardest death to kind of get round, because you're going to be so on the fence. One half of everybody is going to be going, like, the guy that made wrestling mainstream and made this global thing as big as it is with all these characters and made it what it was. And then on the other side, it's, oh, thank God he's gone. He's so fucking delusional and out of touch that these wrestlers can finally get somewhere without him fucking dragging them down all the time.
Yeah, it was like, it's the equivalent of if Stan Lee was continuing to write comics and they were just awful.
Yeah.
Like, awful, but he wasn't going to step down. It's like,
So when he died, it's like, oh my God, thank you so much, Stan Lee, for creating this masterpiece, which is Marvel Comics. But at the same time, maybe we can get some writers in now that know what they're fucking doing. So, yeah. And it's the same with Hogan. I won't really be that upset when Hogan goes. But
no, but I think he's a bit of it.
In the industry.
Yeah, I get what he did with the injury, but he's an asshole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Luke Harper is not an asshole. He's everyone praises how much of a lovely person he is. So
he's a lovely man. Yeah, I mean, did you see any of the AEW tribute show?
I saw some bits and bobs, but yeah, like all the core bits.
It was just perfect. Not perfect in the sense of someone's died, but as far as a tribute goes, I don't think any fan had a bad thing to say about it. What AEW have done for the family is incredible.
Yeah.
And I think me and my brother just said from afterwards, like, if I couldn't respect AEW anymore, they've raised the bar.
Yeah.
Like, the respect that I've got for that company is insane. They retired the TNT Championship. Well, not the championship, the belt.
Yeah.
Darby Allin's still TNT champion, but out of respect for Brodie, they've retired the belt. So yeah, I think one of the last things I really got to say about this is the only time I think in the past we might have had a minor complaint about Luke Harper was the way he was booked. As far as what he did in the ring and his characters and his promo, I can't think of one bad move.
No, neither can I. Like anything, like I said, the only negative is something that is out of his control.
Yes. Yeah, the way he was booked and utilised.
Yeah.
And, you know, I love watching him perform. He just had, like we said before, he had that draw, that there was something there, whether it be there's something about him what you're entertained by it, and there's something about him where he's going to be something. So, yeah, what was I going to say? It was... Sorry, I've lost the words here.
He's crying. He's crying.
No, but don't get me wrong. I was well enough.
No, so was I, mate. I'll be honest.
But, it was one of them where, he did nothing wrong. He should have had so much more of a better career in the WWE. And to this day, the six-man tag match between the Shield and the Wyatts is still my favourite six-man tag match of all time.
Yeah, I mean, that goes down as one of the best matches of the modern era. It was incredible. Yeah. And he was a lot to do with it.
Harper was over with the fans from day one.
Yeah.
And that's unheard of, really. That not maybe since The Undertaker. Undertaker was over since day one, and there's a very select few that have the same thing they can say. And Harper's one of them.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that he's gone at such a young age. But, his legacy will live on.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah. So, sorry to start on a somber note.
But, well, we got to talk about it. It's a very important thing. It needs to be spoken about.
Yeah, so yes, your first question.
Okay, so my first... to be honest, looking at the questions that I've got, one of them is kind of like a reasonably positive one, but the other two are quite depressing, being on the fact that what has been happening recently in WWE and how it's gonna be awful. It's just like, right, fuck it, here we go. Right. Number one, how close are you to giving up on watching WWE?
To be honest, I don't exactly watch it now. I don't make any effort to watch Raw or SmackDown. I mean, I could have over the Christmas holidays, no work or whatnot. But I just thought I can't be bothered. And a part of it is not really the fault of WWE. It's just the whole, without fans or with the Thunderdome, it's just, that's not enough for me right now. So I read what happens. And most of it is the generic same old stuff. Some of it does catch my eye. To be honest, there's not a lot of it that's been like extremely bad at the minute. Sorry, I'm getting a phone call if you can hear the ring.
Oh, hold on. I think he's gone. That Josh got cut off because someone was trying to ring him on his phone. So what were you saying?
Yes. Saying Thunderdome doesn't help. Some good bits, some not so bad bits, but it's just there's no real reason for me to watch it right now because it just feels a little bit like they're going through the motions till they get fans back in. Which
I'd agree with that.
They need to do it because they've got they're still putting or trying to put some entertaining TV show out there every week at the end of the day. They've still got a job to do. It's just I still watch the pay-per-views. And the thing is as well, NXT have been doing a few specials. I mean, the other day they did New Year's Evil. And I do intend to watch it at some point. But if this was like under normal circumstances with fans and stuff, I would be like, yeah, okay, I'm going to shut myself off from the world. I'm going to watch this. I don't want any spoilers. With those, even with NXT, I've got to the point of like, if I find out the results, find out the results.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of getting to that as well. Like, I'm still watching a couple of clips on YouTube for Raw and SmackDown and NXT, but I'll be honest, I'm skipping most of them now. It's like maybe 3 videos, and I'm very close to doing what you're doing, is just finding out what the results are, so I know what's going on going into a pay-per-view. And I'll be honest, it's not because of the reasons that you outlined. It's not because of the Thunderdome and the no crowds. That doesn't bother me because that's not their fault. You know what I mean? There's nothing they can do about that. I've accepted the LED screens with all the people. That's fine. I'm close to giving up because the storylines are fucking god-awful. The people that are being rushed to be called up and they're not being utilised correctly. The other kind of part-time talent that keeps coming back in, which I'll fucking get to later. It just seems like, again, they're going through the motions, and I think maybe they could be even using the current pandemic as a reason to just kind of not really make much effort, apart from maybe 1 or 2 storylines. The Roman Reigns storyline, that is absolutely perfect. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I mean, I liked Drew's run, but it looks like the wheels are about to come off, which again I'll get into later. I don't know. I'm losing all faith in it. They're meant to be. Should be the crunch time of them putting out the best product they can possibly put out, because it should be a form of escapism for someone, not a form of contention where we're sitting here pissed off every week because they haven't done the right thing. At the end of the day, we're all in bad moods at the moment because of this global bastard, and we want some escapism. Like, if you're watching any other TV show, like if we were watching The Mandalorian every single Friday, and every single Friday we come away from it going, that was shit, what the fuck are you doing, you're wrecking Star Wars, we'd be up in arms, we'd be pissed off. But for some reason, WWE seem to just continue to make below par products and getting away with it. And that Vince should be looking at it going, I'm going to give everybody what they want because everybody needs a pick-me-up right now. But he doesn't think that. He thinks, no, I'm just going to do what I want because it's my company and fuck the rest of you.
What he's done with... well, we'll say, I know what question you're going to get to later. All I'm going to say with that is he's obviously hitting the panic button with a lot of things.
Yes.
So he knows what's going on. He knows that things are fucked up. To be fair to wrestling as a whole, from what I've seen AEW doing, they're nailing it. They've got Sting, they've got the club, they've got partnerships with TNA now. I think even New Japan, and everything they seem to be doing is like, this is awesome. However, I'm not really. I'm doing the same thing. I'm checking out clips on Facebook and YouTube. I keep saying this to my brother. I've got a library of episodes of AEW Dynamite on my Sky Planner that I haven't watched yet, and I intend to. But it's that whole thing. Once it hits my head, like, should I watch AEW? It's like, I can't be asked. And a part of it, I know in your opinion, the Thunderdome hasn't affected you, but it really has affected me because nothing seems. Forgive the ploy, but real anymore in this, because what's real about having an audience in there is you can judge off their reactions and whether it be their chants, their cheers, their boos. You know what's working, what isn't, where to go with it. Sometimes the pop of the crowd or the disdain of the crowd feeds my energy.
Yeah, so it's kind of like we've entered like an alternative universe of wrestling at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to get invested in like a near fall when they just kick out before 3 after a finisher, and there's this pumped in noise of
yeah.
Like,
yeah, I get that.
This is the press of a button that's doing that. You know, so it's so weird to talk about it in this way when it's a scripted show anyway. But I think that's the main part of it. The crowd wasn't scripted.
Yeah, the crowd's natural. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, that's fair enough.
It seems too like, yeah, here you go, and that's it. Where with a live audience, it was like literally live audience means live. Anything can happen. Now, I'm not going to condone this, but that could be anything from a fan jumping the rail to the fans shitting all over the wrestler, to the fans ripping the roof up the place because they really approve of something. So that's what I miss, and I tried it, and I still watch the pay-per-views. I still keep in touch with what's going on, but until we get a live crowd there, I'm not going to be fully like, all right, here we go. What's going on in WWE today?
Yeah, I agree.
I'll admit, as soon as they go, okay, this is the date of this Raw, of this SmackDown, where we're going to have a full capacity live audience back for the first time since blah, 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 I might even think, fuck it, I'm watching that one live. Because it'll be such a special moment with how long we've been waiting that it might be off the charts. Or the crowd might be in there, go, we're glad to be back, watch the show and go, that was shit, but they'll be there to tell them that.
Yeah.
With their boos, with their chants, with everything. So, yeah, it just seems very generic right now. I haven't given up, but it's very difficult.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Now. Is it me?
It is you.
Yeah. I want to talk a bit about Kayfabe again. Back in the day, Kayfabe was a very big deal, to the point, with the example I'm going to use, if you were a heel, you only travelled with other heels. If you're a face, you travel with other face, whether that be the car, on the coach, whatever. Do you think, even though the curtain has been lifted and most people know how the business works now, for the younger generation that still believe in kayfabe, do you think that kind of stuff should still happen? Another example being with autograph signings, you should not have the heels there. If they are going to be there for autograph signing, they behave like the dickhead characters they are, and also really try and protect the whole knowing their real name kind of thing. So to sum it up, do you think they should really focus more on kayfabe despite the new generation?
No, I mean, like I say, I think it's like Pandora's box. Once it's open, you can't close it. It's too late now. I don't think it matters to the kids too much because for the most part, they're not watching all the documentaries and the real world stuff because that's aimed at people like us because we want to know the person behind the mask kind of thing. Kids aren't interested in that. They just want to see their show. And, you know what I mean? There's so many documentaries out there for the TV shows and movies and all this kind of stuff. Kids don't tend to watch that. They tend to watch the movies and the TV shows because that's what they believe. It's their escapism. That's the bit they enjoy. When I was a kid, and I'm pretty sure you were the same, we love Star Wars, but if we saw the Empire of Dreams documentary at the age of 7, we'd be bored shitless because it's not Star Wars. It's what's going on behind Star Wars. It's the same thing. So I think the only thing I would say is that maybe WWE should not advertise the real world stuff, the documentaries and that kind of stuff at the pay-per-view shows because when the kids are watching that, they go, oh, what's that? And then that will kind of jar them a little bit. So I reckon they should advertise that at other points. They've got other means of doing that. Aside from that, yeah, I don't see it really being a problem. It's far too late now. We know too much, but I don't think it damages the kids too much because it's the same thing with them like believing in Santa. You know, as you get a little bit older and everything, you start to question it. But at the same time, you're like, no, I'm still going to believe in him because what if I'm wrong? What if he does exist? You know what I mean? It's the same kind of thing, isn't it? So they kind of, they will themselves to kind of want to believe what they're seeing in front of them. So no, I don't think it really affects it that much.
I suppose you're right, because it is that whole, are you going with like, it can't really be saved now? Like, because the box isn't open kind of thing. Because I remember a few years ago, Kevin Owens, a mother put out a tweet berating Kevin Owens because he'd done something to a kid, and I don't mean like he hit him or something, but he behaved in his heel character towards the kid. And she was really upset about it. And I was thinking, this is his job.
Yeah.
To make you boo him, to make you hate him. And even with MJF, I've seen multiple photos of him at autograph signings where he's flipping the kid off. That's a heel.
No, don't get it wrong. I love that stuff, and I'm fine with people to continue to do that. I'm just saying it doesn't need to be all of them to do it. If certain characters like MJF or KO do that, then that's absolutely fine. I'll love that. But it's too late for everyone to do it.
I think this is why The Undertaker is so popular, because the reason the Last Ride documentary series was so popular is that was the first time really ever he lifted the curtain. Now, despite us knowing the ins and outs pretty much of how wrestling works now, because we've hit that age, I was invested in it, not just because, personally he's my favourite, but it's like he kept that mystique up for 30 years that I didn't know a lot about him, and now I want to. And I'm not saying, I agree with you, I don't think every character should do that, but I think they should invest more time in that, because Bray Wyatt, for example, like, one of the things I really love that WWE did, The Undertaker was never seen in the crowd in the Hall of Fame during his Dark Side gimmick, because it wouldn't have made sense, despite the Hall of Fame meant to be in this separate entity from WrestleMania and all that. It's the same with, like, if it's going to be The Fiend versus whoever at WrestleMania, if the night before you saw Bray Wyatt in a suit and his hair tied back looking quite cheery in the Hall of Fame, you're going to be like, well, hang on a minute. I want them to keep some sense of kayfabe up, not because I believe they're really a monster or a dead man or whatnot, but just to keep me in the dark. So when something comes out of left field, it gets me, or I really buy into hating someone or loving someone.
Yeah, that's fine.
I like to say, I don't know if it can be saved now.
It still has a place. I'm just saying that, like you say, because it's gone on too long, you can't save all of kayfabe. There's still elements of it, but it's down to the specific wrestler and what they wish to do with their character.
Yeah, well, I suppose it might be the wrestler's decision or discretion, but if like another example, if Miz was on his white hot heel run, like just really like whether it be when he was WWE champion or the stuff he did with Ziggler and Maurice when he's Intercontinental champion, he was one of the most hated heels in the company at the time. If the following day you see him on a chat show and he's very polite and a nice guy, it's like, this kind of breaks it a bit. Where if he'd stayed in character, was a complete asshole, saying, where's my water? Don't look at me, I need another light. People from outside the industry would be going, who the hell is this dick? What the hell? And that it might even draw more eyes to the product. Yeah,
I'd agree.
Like, oh, Miz is going to go against so-and-so. I might watch that because I want him to get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's knowing when to put kayfabe in the right places.
Yeah.
And I think they've got the ball on it in the last few years.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So, yeah. You're going.
Yeah, so this is my more kind of positive one. If you could have any WWE superstar have a shock Royal Rumble win, who would it be? So it doesn't... Womble. Wibbly Wobbly. I'm Jonathan Wass. But yeah, not someone that you think's going to win this year, but someone that you think that to have that kind of shock Rumble win that we think to ourselves, there's no chance they're winning this year. Like, because there's always favourites of odds to win each year, but then to have someone else come in and do it instead. Is there anyone that comes to mind makes you think that's the guy?
Am I picking a male and female, or just
just pick the one? Just which one comes to mind the best?
Let me think. Okay, the first one that comes in, because the way I'd be looking at this is, okay, it's got to be someone that deserves it, and the fans know they deserve it, but the WWE have kind of shafted as far as where they've put them in the card. So, because otherwise it's going to be like, if it's a shit guy, well, it's going to be shocking, but you're going to be like, no offense to him, but if Otis won the Royal Rumble, I'm not going to be interested in watching Otis go for the win.
No.
So the first one that came to mind, and I can't really think of anyone else, is Ricochet.
Oh, that'll be good.
If he just out of nowhere, just like, I don't know, was similar to what happened at Rumble last year. You know, Lesnar was kicking his ass for a while until Drew came in. If it was a similar thing, big guys kicking the shit out of Ricochet throughout the whole match, a couple more guys come in, and then Ricochet out of nowhere just kicks the big guy over the top rope for the win. You're going to be like, holy shit, okay, I'm investing in this. And that helps because Ricochet's already got the respect of the fans. And I think he's in that kind of class where he'll keep the respect of the fans despite with what WWE are doing with him right now. Because they know how good he is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't really think of another one off the top of my head right now. So I'll stick with Ricochet. Have you got one in mind?
Yeah, I mean, mine was Kevin Owens, just because there's never been a Rumble he's been in where I generally think to myself that it's going to be him, it's his year, because they never put it forward that there's ever a hope in hell that he'll be the one. He's doing good stuff with Reigns at the moment, but I still don't think that it's up to him to win the Rumble this year. I think, obviously, like I say, Big E seems to be one of the main players. But yeah, I'd love it if he doesn't, like, Owens just goes into the Rumble, same as he always does. Nothing really special happens. The usual kind of Rumble stuff. You don't think it at all. And then for him to be in the last four, you think, okay, good, that's cool. Like, Owens is a good pick to be one of the last four. They always pick strong four people at the end. And then to have him down to the last two and to get that win would just... It's like maybe when he's been having like a mediocre year or a bad year, but they don't play on it, because if you play on it too much, it becomes obvious. Yeah. You know what I mean? It becomes far too obvious. So don't play on it. Don't reference it too much, but make it so we're kind of going, oh, he's just having a bad year. They don't give a shit about him. And then suddenly, bang, wins the Rumble. That's what I want. That's such a shock because you generally didn't see it coming, but at the same time you think, fuck me, does he deserve it? It's the same thing with Ricochet. You get it to happen, you think, fuck me, they deserve it.
I think it helped with Kevin. I did kind of think Kevin, but I thought it kind of helps. He's already been Universe Champion, and let's face it, probably the best Universal Champion we've had. Roman Reigns is up there now.
Yeah.
So if Kevin won, I'd be ecstatic. There would be an element of shock, but there'd be another part of my head going, this has been a long time coming. There's where with Ricochet, it's like, yeah, that would be like, I didn't think he'd ever go this way.
Yeah, true.
The other two that might work, but I'm just not sure really, because I was going to say Xavier Woods, because they all love him, but I don't know if he's main event WrestleMania material.
Not yet.
Yeah, and then the other, purely with who Roman as champion at the minute, is if Jimmy won it. Because you never really expect a tag team partner to win the Royal Rumble.
No. It's just they're normally just cannon fodder for the Rumble.
Yeah. So if you go, right, okay, a tag team partner's won it. It's Jimmy Uso. It's Jimmy Uso versus Roman Reigns. Where's Jay going to stand? The storyline writes itself.
Yeah, it's true.
In that sense. But out of all that list, I'd still stick with Ricochet, though.
Cool.
Yeah. Is it my last one?
It is your last one.
This is kind of a difficult one. There might be some dead air here, what do you think?
Oh God, I hate
Right.
it. I don't like doing dead air, especially when it's my
no.
fault as well. It's just
I'll sing or something.
no, don't.
Yeah. What moment did you love at the time, but in hindsight wasn't really that good, and vice versa? What moment did you hate at the time, but in hindsight you go, actually that was pretty cool?
Right. Okay. The one that I hated at the time, but now I think it's one of the best things they've ever given me, is the Firefly Funhouse.
Oh, good. I thought you were going to say the streets.
No, first episode of the Firefly Funhouse, when I saw Bray for the first time as his kind of Buddy Rogers kind of looking thing in his house, I literally went, what the fuck is this? I was like, what have they done to my boy? What have they done to him? They've massacred him. I don't like this. And then over the weeks, I was just like, oh my God, this is brilliant. I was like, this is the best thing on Raw. This is awesome.
Different.
It was so different, but it was so exactly what Bray is. He's so good at writing characters, and that hands down is the thing that I hated at the start, and by the end of it, I thought, what a genius stroke. The other way round, I'm trying to think. That's really hard, because I normally I'm a sucker for like nostalgia and all that kind of stuff, so anything that I normally love, I normally stick to my guns and stay there. Like with the Star Wars trilogy and everything, the new trilogy, the sequel trilogy, I gave them all top marks on my channel. But I look back at it and go, well, yeah, I know there is mistakes there are problems here and there, but I'll still stick to my guns and go, no, it was still awesome, it was still Star Wars.
How it made you feel at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a difficult one. I mean, the two I had in my head, I know just by chance they're all both from the same year. From what I hated at the time, but when I look back at it, I go, actually, it was pretty awesome, was Austin's heel run in 2001.
Yeah, that's
good. Now, don't get me wrong, I still think it was the wrong decision for him to turn heel, but if you look at how he was as a heel, he was different and he was entertaining to the point where you're like, this isn't Austin, what the hell? But now, watching Austin sing Kumbaya to Vince now, I feel like, or these cowboy hats with Kurt Angle and stuff, fantastic. At the time, hated it. What I loved at the time, but look back at it and go, I loved the invasion with the Alliance.
Yeah, but looking back at it was handled poorly.
But because it's like, okay, at the time, this is amazing. WCW invaded, the team of ECWs are going to take them out. Shane and Steph are going to destroy their dad's empire. Wow. Then you really think about it a few years later, it's like, what could have been with WCW? Where was Sting? Where was Goldberg? Where was the NWO? This invasion angle didn't go down the way it should have done and could have done. Yeah. So, I don't know if you've got one like
I've just thought of it, that this one thing that I loved at the time, but looking back on it now, I hate it because in hindsight, it's given us some other things that I did not like, and it seems to be going the same way this time, which actually kind of neatly falls into my final question, which I will obviously get to. I loved when Goldberg came back and beat Lesnar so quickly, but in hindsight, it's becoming a bad thing because now it seems to be like Vince is going, right, well, that's the draw, isn't it? Goldberg, the shit wrestler who can't wrestle, he's nothing but a spot man, comes back, beats someone quickly, normally for a title, which is what he's done with KO and The Fiend. And and that now it seems to be happening with Drew. That's what I would say.
Okay. Do you want to say your next question now? Because I want to extend more on that. And I think I know.
Yeah. So my final question is: what's next for Drew McIntyre when he inevitably loses to Goldberg? Because we all know it's happening.
See, I'm kind of on the fence with this because.
Did you not see Drew's eyes? Did you watch the promo? Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Right, you look at Drew and you can just see it in his eyes. Fuck. I'm pissed off because this is what they've decided to give me.
I saw it as more... his eyes were a little bit like... I don't know if it was because he was knackered after his match, but I saw a little bit, it was like he might have been in awe because I bet you he was a Goldberg fan when he was a kid.
Probably.
So it might be like, oh, great, I'm sharing the ring with an icon, So the thing is, the good thing about social media is they're very vocal of how they feel about stuff. So WWE must have seen the fans' reaction to, oh God, here comes Goldberg.
Here we go again.
Yeah. So don't get me wrong. One of the first things me and my brother said when we discussed it, it was pretty much the way you're looking at it. Like, okay, Goldberg's walking into WrestleMania as champion again. Fuck Drew, kind of thing. But I said, what if they throw the curveball here of like, finally, Goldberg's there to do what he needs to do, which is put younger talent over, and Drew has been on fire to the point, why can't they make Drew their next big star? And a great way of doing it is kicking Goldberg's ass.
And believe me, mate, there's nobody that wants that more than I do, because it will have that final nail in the coffin to solidify Drew as the guy. You know what I mean? And I want that so much. The problem is, it's down to Goldberg. He looks at it. The reason he beat The Fiend is because he goes, I want the kids to look at me and see me as a superhero. So he's going to do the same thing. I have no fears. I have no one I can't beat. Blah, blah, blah. And it's shit like that. So it's because of Goldberg more than anything. So I just fear that he's just going to force Vince to go, well, I'm beating him and I'm going into Mania as champion because that's what the kids would want because they see me as a superhero. Even though we all see Drew as that person as well because of how well he's been doing. And it's just I really hope it doesn't happen. Obviously, I want Drew to retain, but I don't know. I feel like they're just going to do the same thing they always do because they got a ratings boost on Raw because of Goldberg and the Legends thing. So Vince is already looking at that, going, "Well, Goldberg's money," and that's we're leaving this in the hands of the delusional fucking old man that thinks that part-time legends that can't wrestle are the draw and that they're more important than putting any stock in his new wrestlers.
The thing is, with Goldberg, look, I'm hoping to God, because Goldberg, that was my concern. Goldberg over to Vince, like, superhero, make me the champ. They would love it. And I don't know, as far as the man Goldberg, like, not the character, just Bill Goldberg, I don't know what kind of a man he is if Vince has turned to him and said, look, I know you want to win, but we want Drew to win. That's the way it's going to be booked. And Goldberg's gone, if that happens, I'm not turning up. And,
I think he would. I think he'd do that because he's got a lot of pull because he knows how big of a star he is.
This is it. This is why I think Vince might be hitting the panic button here. Of like, oh, if Goldberg walks, we're fucked. It's like, no, you're not, because he's a part-timer.
Yeah,
focus
on the people that are there full time and don't see their families for most of the year, not these people that pop up for 2 matches a year.
Yeah. So, but as far as the Goldberg character and his persona, I'll admit I've still got a bit of a draw to it, and partially because I know his matches are usually that short. It's only going to be like a few minutes, but holy shit, is it going to be an explosive few minutes? There's my investment. So, if with what they've been doing with Drew recently, how they've booked him, he's been kicking out a one at a lot of finishes. So if they do that kind of thing with Goldberg, that's great.
Yeah.
If he starts kicking out spears and stuff. Also, I'm wondering if when Survivor Series roll around and Roman beat Drew, Vince said to Drew, I owe you one. And this might be the one he owes him.
Oh, I hope so. I really hope so. Because the only thing I'm thinking of is that, as far as I know, Goldberg is only contracted into one match a year at the moment.
Oh, no. Apparently it's 3.
Is it 3?
3. Well, 3 or 4. I'm not sure if this Rumble one counts as... I don't know if it's Rumble and 3 more or Rumble and 2 more, if you know what I mean.
Right.
But, yeah, me and my brother were talking about it. So it's like, okay, it's obviously going to be the Rumble, Mania, and then probably a Saudi show if they go ahead, and then wherever. So, yeah, he must know. I know Goldberg's got to get that past that point of like, you are at that point of age and in your career, put the new talent over.
Yeah, the thing is, like, you stop don't be like Hulk Hogan, because people will hate you. People will start to hate the person, not the wrestler. They'll go, well, you don't deserve to be here anymore because you're not being fair.
Yeah. It's the three outcomes that are going to happen with the Rumble. It's either going to be, we'll be surprised, it will go on more than a few minutes, and they'll go to war. They'll kick the shit out of each other. The other outcome, which I'd love, similar, it's kind of in a similar way what happened with Goldberg and Braun at Mania, almost a reversal of Goldberg-Lesnar Survivor Series. Straight out the gate, Claymore. Goldberg might hit a spear. Drew kicks out at one. Couple more Claymores. Drew destroys Goldberg.
Oh, mate, honestly, I'm salivating at the opportunity for that to happen, and I hope it does.
What I'd hate is the norm. Spear, jackhammer, good night.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of it. I'm afraid it will happen.
At that point, it'd be, I don't know if, I think I'd watch Mania, but I don't know if I'd watch any of the pay-per-views until crowds come back in then, because I'd be like, what's the point?
Yeah.
What is
the problem is, I fear that Vince is thinking and maybe saying to Drew, like, you're going to lose to Goldberg, and this is how you're going to do it. It's going to be like usual. And even if Drew kind of disagrees, Vince will just go, yeah, but you lose to Goldberg, and he's indestructible, so it doesn't make you look bad. I was like, it fucking does. It made them Fiend look bad, and it took a while for the Fiend to recover.
Yeah, but if anything, and this is no offense to Braun, is like, okay, yeah, the Fiend managed to recover. Braun destroyed Goldberg. If Goldberg destroys Drew, doesn't that make Drew look more weaker than Braun?
Yes.
Which maybe they want to put Braun a bit more over. I'm not saying they should bury Braun, but when Drew's your top guy at the minute, that makes no logical sense. And even if they did save it, if Goldberg won the championship, Big E won the Royal Rumble, and Big E beat Goldberg for the title of Mania, as much as I'd love that moment, it would not be worth what happens to Drew at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, because then you just instantly go, well, Big E's stronger than Drew. It's just like, but you haven't put that forward to me in the last year. You've put forward that Drew is unstoppable and he's kicking out at ones in some of these amazing matches, and that Big E's slowly coming up to the point where, we'll think he's legitimate, but not to the point where he's going to beat Goldberg and instantly be stronger than Drew. No way.
Yeah, this is it. If they wanted to go like in a different world, if it was like, this guy beat Drew for the championship, Big E beat this guy to get that championship, people would then begin to talk of like what happens when Big E and Drew collide. That's what WWE want. The factor they need to take out is the fact that that person is Goldberg.
Yes.
If it was
it needs to be
full-time put them on the roster, I'd have no qualms with it.
Exactly. It needs to be someone else that is on the same kind of level, that they can go out and have a proper 20-minute slogfest, and then even in defeat, people look good. But the problem is, in defeat, no one looks good from being defeated by Goldberg, except for Lesnar, because of how much that was just a shocking moment that we never thought was ever going to happen. But with everybody else, with Fiend and Owens and everything, Ziggler, I suppose, a little bit, it just makes them look bad, and it takes time for them to recover. I mean, look at Owens. It took him almost an entire year to get anywhere near. I wouldn't even say that he's back to where he was before. He's better than he was before, but it took him about a year to kind of get back to people paying attention to him again, all because of fucking Goldberg.
If they are smart, which they're not, another good way to do it was, because it's rumoured to be Orton the Fiend at the Rumble in a Firefly Funhouse match, which I think would be great, because if they do it the same way they did with Cena, of like looking at his past career, just the vignettes and things they could do with Evolution and how Orton used to be, that'd be awesome. But if during the Goldberg-Drew match, if Goldberg's ready to like line up Drew and the Fiend attacks and costs Goldberg the match, if that leads to a rematch of the Fiend and Goldberg at Mania, and this time Goldberg not only does the favours for Bray at Mania, but puts him way over, like literally the way Bray's been put over for last year, of not even Goldberg can keep Bray down. That would be okay, because it's like, okay, not only is Drew still champion and not lost to Goldberg, that Goldberg has done the favours for Bray. He's making sure the future is insured.
Yeah, and I really hope that he's thinking smart. I really do, rather than just thinking of himself.
Yeah,
I really hope so.
Admitted, there is a time where it's like, yeah, I'm ready to be champion. I want to be on top. But there's also a time to be selfless.
Yes.
And at 50-odd years old, when you're not even full-time, that is definitely the time.
100%. Like, even Cena's doing it now. And I know, like I say, he's part-time and everything, but he's younger than fucking Goldberg and all that kind of stuff. And he's doing it. So if Cena's doing it, you can do it.
I mean, I know Triple H gets a lot of stick for a lot of shit he did in his career with his ego and stuff. But if you look at his WrestleMania record, more often than not, Triple H put people over.
He is, I think, outside of Batista, he's lost for the last 4 to 5 years on the trot. Batista's the only one that he won. He's lost to loads of people. He does. He knows when it's the right time to put that person over.
Apart from Sting.
I forgot about that. Yeah, no one's forgot about that.
Bad move.
You wonder why he's in AEW, don't you?
Yeah.
So basically, my original question was, what's next for Drew when he loses?
Oh, sorry.
You basically say he ain't going to lose.
Right. If he does lose, I really don't know, because unless that becomes Drew Fiend at WrestleMania, because it's like, okay, Drew's on a roll, Bray's on a roll, one of them's it's going to be a collision, and that's going to be interesting, because I really wouldn't know who should win. I know who I'd want to win.
Yeah, I feel like you'd book himself into a corner with that. I'm afraid that they're going to take the title off Drew so they can have him win it back at Mania against Goldberg. Which doesn't work, because Goldberg's not really a heel. He's not meant to be anyway. It needs to be a really bad heel that it's such a big pop for Drew. But him taking it back off Goldberg, it doesn't seem like that's really much of a pop, because they haven't had much history.
Yeah, maybe in their twisted logic, they're going, if Goldberg beats Drew, we know a lot of the fans will hate it. That'll create a lot more sympathy and fanfare for Drew for when we do give it back to him. Hopefully in front of a live audience, he'll get the pop he deserved at WrestleMania 36. That might be their twisted logic. I really don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, in all honesty, if Drew loses the belt, I don't know where they can go from there, and that concerns me.
Yeah, definitely. The fact that they're not interested in thinking about that kind of stuff, all they're thinking about is putting the title on someone like Goldberg, shows how backwards they are.
Yeah, just the same old shit.
Yeah,
just the same.
That's the thing, is like, as soon as Goldberg came out, that's the first thing I thought. So here we go again. It's the same shit like last year, same shit the year before.
Yeah, I'd be less upset if Goldberg was put in a match where it wasn't for the championship.
Yeah, it doesn't. That's the thing with Goldberg. It doesn't need to be for the championship.
No.
At all. Like, you can like when him and Lesnar were going against each other for the belt at Mania, it was amazing, but it didn't need to be for the belt. I was just looking forward to these guys having 5-6 minutes of absolutely annihilating each other. And that's all I really want. That's all you expect from Goldberg. So you don't need him to wreck a new talent to do that.
Yeah. In hindsight, we've said this before, in Mania 33, it should have been Jericho Kevin for the Universal
100%.
Championship.
Yep.
To which that, if things had gone the way that way, Jericho still might be with WWE. And Goldberg, I know they wanted to spice up the whole Goldberg-Lesnar storyline, which is why they have the title there. But if you wanted to spice it up, go, okay, if Lesnar can't beat you this time, he retires. There's your buzz, there's your draw, because we know Lesnar wins in the end. So, but yeah, who knows? So yeah, I think that kind of sums it up.
Yeah, it's just kind of meh at the moment.
Yeah, the whole industry of wrestling's a little bit meh. WWE's kind of like just a big fucking sigh.
Yeah, the wheels are coming off.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, is it on? Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I love what they put on the network, all their documentaries and stuff.
Yeah, and in fairness, in 2020, there was a handful of pay-per-views that were reasonable.
Yeah.
But it still could be a lot better.
they're doing the best they can. Well, they're doing what they can in a bad situation. They're definitely not doing the best thing.
No, they're literally doing the bare minimum.
Yeah, that's it.
100%.
Yeah. So there we go.
Yeah, so that's us ranting and raving for ages. Yeah, so, I mean, we got Rumble in 3 weeks?
End of the month.
Is it 3 weeks away?
However long the end of the month is. So, yeah,
I don't know, mate. Everything's moulding into one at the moment. It felt like Christmas was about 6 months ago.
Yeah, well, if it's the 8th today, about 3.5 weeks.
Okay, so we might have another one of these before Rumble. If not, you'll see us at the end of January for the Rumble.
Yeah, so keep posted. Share.
Yeah. Right. See you in a bit. Bye.
Bye.